Under the new rules, how would Henry have been affected under the new rules?
Well, the impact, if the administration got its way, or if S-290 were to pass, the impact on people in Henry's situation would be really dramatic. And the reason for that is because it would impose an earnings requirement, meaning that someone would have to go back to work, even if they were accused of simple misconduct, which might be something like being late for work one too many times, or something relatively minor. And so for those individuals, it would be an effective bar to getting anything until they went back to work. Of course, if you've gone back to work, you don't have the need for employment benefits anymore. So the earnings requirement is very onerous. Currently, for simple misconduct, typically, if there is a finding of simple misconduct, people have to wait 6 to 12 weeks, depending on the nature of their final determination. But eventually, they can start collecting benefits. So it's a way to recognize that for something relatively minor, where the employer feels the need to act, eventually that family can get benefits if they still haven't found work after a certain period of time. So it's really, it's a way of making a distinction between simple misconduct and the more extreme gross misconduct, which would be very serious infractions like theft or something like that, really adverse to the employer's interests. So I think, the problem with making an effective bar to anybody that's accused of misconduct is really you affect all the families, all the kids, all the partners of those people who have lost their jobs. And you're also putting at risk their ability to go back to work in the first instance because they're not able to pay their bills. So what Henry's talking about in terms of losing your car and then not being being trapped in a rural area like many Vermonters are, that's effectively a trap that's going to bar somebody from finding work. And I don't think that's the intent or the purpose of unemployment. It's supposed to be a bridge to finding employment again, and that's what it should be for. The fund should be maintained as it is, as far as benefits are concerned.
And are there other issues that you talked about in the press conference that you think readers should know about that haven't really been addressed?
I do. There's a lot of talk about the maximum benefit, but most Vermonters on average get about $300 as the average weekly benefit amount. And what the proposal that the administration and that's contemplated under S-290 would do is look back at the last 4 quarters of work and count all 4 quarters, which is going to, for most people, reduce what their weekly benefit is going to be. Because currently the way that the weekly benefit amount is figured is based on the highest 2 quarters out of the last 4. So that means you're getting the maximum benefit possible based on the highest rate of employment that you work. If you had a standard salary or a standard amount that you work for the whole year, you might be unaffected. But for most people, the highest 2 quarters is going to give them the highest benefit, and that's going to allow them to continue, hopefully, to be making payments for rent and electricity and car and so forth. So that's a huge hit that most Vermont workers would face under this plan. And we oppose it.
Is there anything else?
I guess one other piece that people should know about is in this economy, there are a lot of part-time workers who are able to draw a part-time unemployment benefit to supplement their part-time work. And what the administration and what S-290 would do is reduce the earnings disregard for part-time workers. So currently, 30% of what you make as a part-time worker is disregarded in factoring out what the remainder of your benefit might be. So you get a little bit more of a benefit that way. What the administration and what S-290 would do is reduce that to either 20% or 15% as a disregard amount. So that would affect a lot of part-time workers. And if the thinking is that it's going to be real easy for those folks to get full-time employment or put pressure on them to find full-time employment, I challenge people in this economy to find easy jobs out there. It just isn't happening. This is the worst possible time to be taking money out of the pockets of working Vermonters, especially those that are trying to go back to work, part-time workers, and so on. Or people based on their last 4 quarters' wages. It's just not right, and for all those reasons, we oppose the changes that the administration or S-290 contemplate.